dreamers dream, where dreams come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine. Welcome to season 3 of the Sade Champagne Show, where we dream, where we live the impossible. GrindHard Radio. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Tune in at 323-693-3043. Join me with my cast, Veronika Esquivel Winters, Christina Renee, Ayakunle Falama, Rick and Melissa Wood, Michelle Morgan, and Ebony and Erica from Tulala One on YouTube. We have celebrity guests, music, entertainment, spirituality, sports, fitness, health, wellness, beauty, hot topics, education, entrepreneurship, and more. Yeah. Season 3 of the Sade Champagne Show, GrindHard Radio. Good evening, everyone. That was NDRE with Brothers Keeper. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 42 of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. This is my pre-birthday celebration episode. Every episode is available on iTunes. Search The Sade Champagne Show, and you can download them for free. Also, my Sade Champagne YouTube channel is another place where you can listen to the show afterwards. Thanks to everyone for tuning in all around the globe. All the episodes of my show are available at blogtalkradio.com/grindhard_radio. I've also posted the direct link to this episode on my Twitter and Facebook pages, so you can tune in at any time. Thank you to Travis Miller for creating and producing my show's theme song, and to Scott Swish for mixing it. Thanks to Kata Mafioso for helping me to create my new radio drop. If this is your first time listening, I'm a professional musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur. I have created, directed, and executive produced almost 300 charitable and inspirational events, including my popular Power of a Dream tour. I love mentoring, coaching, authentically being myself, and using my platform to encourage, empower, and bring out the gold in others. Tonight, for my pre-birthday celebration episode, I'm turning 30, by the way, and 30 has never looked and felt so good. I'll be sharing some of my favorite original inspirational messages and some of my favorite speakers' clips, including Les Brown, Greg Henry, Bertie Brits, and my castmate Veronika Esquivel Winters. Veronika also brought a brand new Wellness Made Simple segment. I want to tell you guys about my 30th birthday celebration vacation coming up. For the next week, I'll be in New Orleans, and I am very thankful. I have been dreaming and praying about this trip for over a year now, and I have not had a vacation in so long. And you know this is a real vacation because I'm not even taking my laptop. So if I don't get it done before I leave tonight, then it's not happening. So I'm very thankful to be going on this vacation, and I can't wait to be able to vlog for you guys. I'll be taking lots of pics. Of course, I'll be enjoying the moment and living in the moment. And I'm just excited about my dreams in this next year of life. I know a lot of people, especially as the years go on, they don't like to celebrate their birthdays. They feel like they're getting old. But I'm so thankful for every single year that I live, because I feel like my life is getting better every single year, and God just continues to renew my life and my heart and strengthen me and my dreams, and I'm able to just continue loving on people. And I truly do feel that my best days are now and ahead of me. And so I'm just so thankful. I'm working on new music. I'm working on my first books. I'm working on my live stage productions. I'm going to be traveling more. So many millions of things I see happening, and being able, well, not millions, but you know what I mean, and being able to help many people around the world. And I'm thankful, and I love adventure, and I'm looking forward to seeing where God is going to take me and the people that I'll be able to encourage and empower along the way. And I'm just so thankful and excited. Me and my artists are always booking new shows and performances. We love traveling, as I just mentioned, and if you're looking to bring me, Power of a Dream Tour, or any of our award-winning, critically acclaimed artists, mentors, speakers, or workshop leaders to your city or event, please email me at sadechampagnemusic@gmail.com. That's sadechampagnemusic@gmail.com for more details. And check out my Facebook page, Sade Champagne, to see my full schedule. Lastly, thank you to everybody who watches, you share, you subscribe to all my new videos. I am constantly writing new pieces, creating new songs, and I'm going back into the recording studio this month with my music producers, The Quakes, and I'm working on my brand new singles. And also, I just released my first meditation album, which I'll be playing a track from that album throughout the show tonight, and it's totally free. You can download it on my SoundCloud page. Just go to soundcloud.com/Sade Champagne. I'm going to share the link on my social media too, so you can check it out tonight or anytime. And you can just download every single track for free and share them. I believe in the power of meditation. I believe that what we think, what we listen to, what we read, what we watch, all those things greatly impact our lives for the better or for the worse. But it's never too late for a transformation. It's never too late for a turnaround, and to see our belief system and the way we feel about ourselves and others and God in this world to be transformed for the better. And so I just want to thank everyone who supports me. And to find out more about my musical journey and how you can get involved, check out GoFundMe.com/Sade Champagne Music. That's GoFundMe.com/Sade Champagne Music. And I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts and comments about this episode and how you're being impacted by the messages and the speakers. Continue to reach out to me like you always do on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Instagram is I am Sade Champagne. Twitter is Sade Champagne. Facebook is Sade Champagne. YouTube, Sade Champagne. And I'm so thankful for you guys' support and for the way you love me, and I love you right back. All right, let's kick off tonight's special with one of my favorite original messages, living from passion instead of desperation.
The topic I wanted to share on is living from your passion instead of desperation. Living from your passion instead of desperation. And the subtitle would be, How I Stay Motivated and Avoid Burnout. How I Stay Motivated and Avoid Burnout. Some of the most common questions people ask me are, what is the driving force behind my life? How do I stay motivated and encouraged? How am I always so joyful? One of my favorite scriptures, and we all know it in Philippians 4:13 as, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it sounds great that way. That's how I grew up listening to it. But I love it in the Mirror translation. And as you know, Francois Dutoit is known as one of the main writers for that translation. But Philippians 4:13 and the Mirror translation says, every situation I am strong in the one who empowers me from within to be who I am. In every situation I am strong in the one who empowers me from within to be who I am. I love that verse. And I love exactly what it articulates and it communicates. This is how I stay motivated and how I avoid burnout. Because for me, it's important to live my life from passion instead of desperation. Number one, I live out of God's love for me. I live out of God's love for me. God is my greatest companion. He is my closest family member, my biggest cheerleader and encourager. That's the only God that I know. So ever since I was a little girl, I have had big dreams and visions. I believe that is the way Jesus revealed himself to me, and that is what he used to help save my life and to encourage me throughout my entire life. It's through the dreams and visions that he gave me. When I started seeing around age 4, and there are dreams and visions that I'm living today in my life. And I would notice, all these amazing things that I could see and that I could imagine and dream up. And I believe that Jesus showed me these things because around that time, around 4 years old, is when I started going through a lot of my childhood trauma of abuse and knowing that my biological father was in prison and growing up in poverty and just not having a high quality of life. But I always knew, ever since I was a little girl, that my life was destined for more. I knew that just because this was my present reality of what I saw around me, I knew that that was not going to be my life and my future. I just always knew. And for me, as I've gotten older and as I've grown more into my identity, I've grown more into my value and who God says that I am, I hear his voice all the time. I hear it every single day, every single moment of the day. God speaks to me, and he is always cheering me on. He's always encouraging me. He's so kind and compassionate, so loving, so full of grace, and so full of joy. And that is what reflects in my life. The love of God for me is what brings me confidence. We live in a world that's full of things and situations and words that can not only tear us down, but that leaves us feeling out of place and like outcasts and like we don't fit. And I had spent a good portion of my life feeling that way. As you know, I'm in the entertainment and music industry, but for a long time in my life, I didn't feel like I fit in there. And sometimes I still don't feel like I fit in the entertainment and music industry. And also growing up in the church, and growing up in Christianity and religion, I didn't feel like I fit in there either. And it was for many years in my life, I just, felt like an outcast. I was too much for this but not enough for that. And I just didn't feel like I fit in. And it was in the love of God for me that I found where I belonged, that I found my home and my happy place, as many of us like to call it. And that's where I begin to find my value and find my worth. I believe that when you know how much God loves you, when you know who he says that you are through what Jesus accomplished for us on the cross and through our original design, that changes everything. And that is my greatest motivation, is knowing how loved I am by God, knowing every single moment of every single day that he is near me, with me, for me, inside of me, above me, beneath me, in front of me, behind me, with me. There is not a place in my life and my existence that his love does not radiate, that his presence does not manifest. And it's not something that I have to force to happen. It's something that God does out of his goodness, out of his kindness. His love, goodness, and kindness are what leads to transformation in our lives. And because of his love for me, that is what brings me such great joy and confidence. I no longer have to live my life from other people's opinions. I no longer have to live always explaining myself to people and living inferior and insecure and always trying to compare myself and prove a point. But I get to just live from a free place where I can breathe, where I can just relax and truly be myself. The love of God for me empowers me to be myself. Also, listening to, reading, and watching the truth 24/7. Number 2, listening to, reading, and watching the truth 24/7. We have believed so many lies for so many years, they begin to play on repeat in our minds, hearts, and ears, and we relive it in our imaginations. So therefore, it takes time for us to receive the truth and for us to begin to live from a new belief. It takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. We didn't start believing crazy things and living crazy lives overnight. A lot of it often happened over time through circumstances, through things we've been through things that we've heard, through trials in our lives, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes even through the great things in our lives, we find our identity in that. But as we all know, life is going to have its ups and downs. Sometimes it's going to be challenging. Sometimes we're going to have great moments. But there's always a greater truth that keeps us sustained. So I don't have to live by that insecurity or from that wavering place of what's happening around me. So listening to, reading, and watching the truth 24/7. What we believe and how we believe and think forms our lives. Think about it. A lot of the things that we see around us, the way we communicate, the way that we dream, the way that we think, the way that we relate to others, our relationships, everything, our education, a lot of it is based upon what we believe and what we think. And the way that we understand something and the way that we're able to truly learn and believe something is through our hearts. You have to receive enough of the right information, enough of the truth in order for you to begin to believe that and for that truth to form your life. Because something can be true all it wants to be true. But unless we actually believe it, it has no power in us and over us. And that goes in both directions. That goes in it with negativity as well. When I actually believe something that someone says about me that doesn't line up with what God says about me, then that lie now becomes a truth to me, and it begins to form my life. And the same goes in the opposite. When it comes to the goodness of God and his love and knowing the truth about Jesus and knowing the truth about our spirituality and our faith and grace, when we are able to receive that truth, then it is able to form, it has permission to form our lives and to build our lives. So how do we receive the truth? How do we allow what we believe and think to be transformed and to be changed? By listening to, reading, and watching the truth 24/7. As you've been hearing throughout this conference, well, we're just on our first night, obviously, but when you hear throughout the other 2 nights that we have, you're going to hear messages from people whom I listen to all the time. I allow myself to listen, read, watch, receive the truth every single day, all throughout my day. And it's not like a work like I must do this, but it's more from I get to do this, and it's from the overflow of my heart. I realize that the more that I listen, the more that I understand, and the more that I believe, and the more that I receive that truth into my life. Because as I share with you all, we spend so much time believing lies that people have spoken over us and lies that have, from things that have happened to us and what we believe that it says about who we are, that when it comes to the truth, it's the same way. It takes time. And so I've noticed over time, sometimes it happens faster than what you think, because you can receive a truth or encouragement and it begins to seep in really fast. But majority of the time, it takes a while. And so I allow myself throughout my day, whether it be if I am at my laptop, whether it be if I'm during my workouts, or if I'm driving in the car, I allow myself to listen to messages, listen to encouragement that only speaks what God speaks about me, that only speaks what I believe and what I desire to receive and see in my life. And I have noticed such a huge difference. I've noticed a huge difference in my mental health and my emotional health and my spiritual health and my physical health and my relational health and all the health of my life. I've noticed a huge, huge difference just by listening, just by watching, just by allowing myself to read those things. And as I share with you, through all the speakers you're going to hear during this conference, they're all speakers that I love listening to every single week and throughout the day. And so I know that you will be able to enjoy this as well, and that it's going to greatly bless you. Allowing other people to come alongside me and support me. Allowing other people to come alongside me and support me. It takes a village. We were created to be interdependent, meaning that we can also stand on our own, but we also stand with others. No one can do it alone. No one can do it alone. And this is something I've learned over the years, and it's brought so much empowerment and joy to my life, knowing that I don't have to do things alone. Having a team or having people who can support you and encourage you, or even at least one person. Obviously, we always have God. We always have Jesus. We always have the Holy Spirit. But He also wants us to have people around us. So having a team, having friendship, having people who believe in you, who support you, and being vulnerable and transparent with yourself and others, and God, of course, doesn't reveal weakness. It actually reveals strength, wisdom and maturity. You know, I live so much of my life inside and internalizing things. I internalized my emotions. I internalized trauma. I internalized challenges and things that I've been through in my life, and it began to make me sick over time. And the sickness manifested in my physical body. It also manifested in my mind and my emotions. I was really good at covering it, you know, because I was an overachiever to the 10th power and a perfectionist with OCD and all those other things. But in that, I also had so much anxiety, so much depression, and on and off, so much loneliness, so much fear, so much paranoia, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, night terrors, the list goes on. And I've found throughout my life that as I've been receiving grace, as I've been walking in this metamorphosis of transformation, effortless, that's all based on the goodness of God that He has been doing through me and that I am accepting and receiving. I also allow other amazing, healthy people who believe similar to what I do or who are able to foster the truth in me. I allow them into my life. I allow them into my heart. I allow them into my mind, and I share my life with them. When I'm going through a challenging time, if there's something that's pressing in on me and making and bringing discouragement to me, I have at least 7 people at any given moment that I can reach out to and say, boom, I need encouragement in this area. Remind me of the truth. Boom, this is what's happening today. I'm feeling this way or struggling in this, and they're able to empower me, or even sharing our victories together, and we're able to do that with one another. Community is so huge and important and vital to life. A lot of times we feel burned out because we don't allow other people to be there for us. We don't allow people to support us and encourage us and empower us. But I always believe that we are stronger together. Because imagine, you're already believing the truth and wanting to grow in that. This other person is already believing the truth and wanting to go in that and to grow in that. And you come together and you come together with more people who are able to receive that as well. It's amazing. It's really empowering. And we're able to all be on one accord and be there for one another and be there for others as well. And lastly, number 4, celebrating every victory along the way instead of comparing myself to others. Celebrating every victory along the way instead of comparing myself to others. Oh, my goodness, especially being in the entertainment industry and even growing up in religion and traditional church, I used to always compare myself to others. Oh, my goodness, drove me absolutely batty. I'm telling you, every time that something good was happening in someone else's life, I would wonder why those things weren't happening to me, when it looked like people were being chosen over me, when it looked like somebody's life looked better than mine, when it looked like someone else was more this or less this or whatever than me. It always brought death to my heart, and it brought death to my emotions and to my life. And it just continued to make me feel, just yucky inside. And I don't believe we were created to live that way. I believe that we were created with our own unique journeys. My journey is uniquely my own, and what's for me is for me. I don't live my life anymore comparing myself to others or trying to have what other people have. Yes, of course I believe you can be greatly inspired by people. You can be encouraged by them. But when I decide that I want my life to be exactly like theirs and I want what they have, then it leaves me looking at my life as if it's not good enough and as if I don't have enough. And that is not the truth. God created me with everything within me and also around me and in Him in order to fulfill the plans and purposes that He has for my life, the dreams He has for my life, in order for me to accelerate every day that I live, in order for me to live in love from receiving His love. It's already in me. It's not something that I need to say, oh, my gosh, I must be like this person or have like that person. Oh, I spend so much time in my life comparing myself to others and always not feeling good enough. And it's only been up until recently that I've really begun to start enjoying who I am and who God created me to be. God custom made your dreams and your destiny for you. My dear friend, Jael the Great, or she's known as Dr. Jael the Great. She's a professor at Spelman College and also an actress, inspirational speaker, and musical artist and performer. She says that we were created perfectly for our purpose, that we were created perfectly for our purpose. I believe that my purpose is to be loved by God forever and ever in this life and the next life to come. And from that passion and overflow, I can share all that I receive from God with my sphere of influence around the world forever and ever. And it may manifest in many different ways. It can manifest through this radio show. It can manifest through my music, through my future books, through my inspirational messages, through when I'm hugging and loving on homeless people, through the children and teens and young women that I get to mentor. It can manifest through any type of way that I desire. But I believe that that is God's purpose for my life, and that excites me every single day. And so now I celebrate every single victory as often as I can remember, whether I be even writing it down or just allowing myself to take a few moments to meditate on that, whether it be, oh my goodness, I'm no longer counting calories. I'm no longer feeling bad when I eat something that someone would say is unhealthy, but it's healthy for my soul, and I feel good afterwards. And so therefore, it's healthy. And so I feel a million, infinity times better. And I want to just soak in that. Wow, I really enjoy what I look like. Wow, I really enjoy this thing that has happened in my life. I enjoy this that is coming up. I enjoy this dream. Whatever it may be, I celebrate every victory along the way. And it continues to remind my heart of the goodness of God. It reminds me of how far I have come. It reminds me to be proud of who I am and to be proud of my accomplishments. And not to say that I find my identity and my worth and my value in my accomplishments, because I don't. But I get to enjoy that for what it is and celebrate in that moment. And so I want to encourage you in that you don't have to compare yourself to others. And so, all right, I want to get a quick review from my original topic, which is living from passion instead of desperation. Living from passion instead of desperation. And the subtitle being How I Stay Motivated and Avoid Burnout. Because I almost never get tired. Of course I get sleepy, and your body can get a little physically tired because we all need rest. But I don't get drained. I don't get tired. I don't feel worn out. I always feel super enthusiastic and encouraged and empowered every single day. And that is because in every situation, I'm strong and the one who empowers me from within to be who I am. So, as we said, number one, I live out of God's love for me. I don't live out of my love for God. I don't live out of me trying to force things. I live out of God's love for me. I've always seen it as like a funnel coming straight from above me and out of me, coming straight through me and out of me to share with others as I've received it for myself. I live out of God's love for me. Number two, listening to, reading, and watching the truth 24/7. What you take in is what you will reflect, or even, as we can also say, what you believe is what you will reflect. It takes time for our belief system to be transformed, to grow, to accelerate. But you can invest in yourself because you're worth it. You are the greatest investment that you will ever make in your life. And through that self-love for yourself, through that self-care, it will radiate every other area of your life. Number three, allowing other people to come alongside me and support me. Through other people's support, through other people's belief in me, through their encouragement, we are able to have family, we're able to have community, and life is so much better and so much brighter because of it, because people are always able to lift us up. We can lift them up, we lift each other up, and it just continues to blossom and grow. And number four, celebrating every victory along the way instead of comparing myself to others. Your journey is uniquely your own. No one can be you better than you can. What's for you is for you. So you don't have to look at other people's life and think that that speaks a word about who you are, but you can look solely within who you are and see the value in who you are and what God says about you. And he says that you are more than enough. He says that you are so loved and so valuable. And so I want to pray for you all tonight as we are wrapping up on this, because I don't want you to be living from burnout anymore. I don't want you to be living from desperation. I know that God created you to live from the overflow. He created you to live from passion. Father God, I thank you so much for all these beautiful people that are listening in and that will be listening in the days, months, and years to come. I thank you that to every single person within earshot, that they will no longer have to live their lives from a place of desperation, from a place of anxiety, from a place of fear and panic, from a place of lack. That's all a low quality of life. But you created us to be seated in heavenly places, to live from complete abundance. I thank you that all the lies that have been spoken to them, all the things that have told them that they're not enough, that they have to force things, that they have to live as in a rat cage where they're just spinning and spinning and spinning in wheels. I thank you that you have broken off those lies, and I thank you that you are filling them with your truth. I thank you that you're opening their hearts to receive your love and your goodness. I thank you that any depression, any anxiety, stress, fear, and worry that has been plaguing them about their future, about their dreams, about their passions, that you are just settling that right now. And that instead they're able to live from a place of peace, that we don't have to live from a place of rushing things to happen, but we can live from rest in today and in this moment. I thank you that you're radiating their lives with joy, that you're radiating their lives with gladness, with love, with peace, and that you are continuing to stir up those passions, reminding them that their dreams are not dead, that their passions and desires are not dead, but that they are still living deep within them. I thank you that you're resurrecting every single area of their life that feels dead and that feels depleted of energy. I'm praying right now for everyone who feels drained throughout the day. If you've been struggling with headaches, I'm praying for everyone who has tons of headaches from worry, stress, and fear. I'm praying for everyone who has been struggling with intestinal and stomach problems and digestive problems. I thank you that you're settling their stomachs right now and that their bodies are going to function as it needs to, that they will not be living from that place of fear and worry anymore, but instead they're going to live from rest and from joy. And I thank you that when they go to sleep at night, they're going to have peace. They're going to have peace and they're going to have wonderful dreams. Thank you that they won't feel suffocated, that they won't feel taken down and underneath in their dreams, that they won't feel restless, but they're going to have deep, amazing, and beautiful sleep. And I thank you for every single person who's listening, that they will not leave here tonight or throughout the conference feeling the same way as when it started, but instead that they're going to know just how deep and how wide and how long and how great and how your love is for them, and that your love has always been for them and will always be for them. And I thank you that that will be the greatest motivation of their lives. And I thank you that burnout is no more, desperation is no more, but that now they are living from passion and overflow. In Jesus' name, amen.
Our next song of the night is Everlife with Find Yourself in You. Keep listening to episode 42 of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Are you looking for a dynamic musical artist, performer, host, or inspirational speaker for your next event? What about a mentor, vocal instructor, or workshop leader for your school, company, or seminar? Contact Sade Champagne for countless professional services that are sure to fit your particular need. She is an in-demand, award-winning, and critically acclaimed musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur who is invited all around the world. She is known for having a powerful voice, turning ideas into action, creating, directing, and executive producing popular charitable and inspirational events, and bringing out the gold in others. Her services are for all ages, backgrounds, and environments. Contact Sade Champagne at SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com. That's SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com to book her for your next event or project. I am so thankful to have the support of mentors and inspirations like Evan Carmichael, who is a YouTube sensation with almost 100 million views and 700,000 subscribers from all around the world. He's a venture capitalist, published author. He has been featured in Forbes magazine, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Inc. magazine, and more. Listen to what he's saying about the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio and me.
I love it. I love your energy and the questions, and keep going at it. I think you got a nice show on your hands here. So everybody listening, go type in Sade Champagne Show into iTunes and give it a 5-star review.
Welcome back to my pre-birthday celebration episode of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Up next, we have a series of inspirational words and clips from me, Les Brown, Bertie Brits, and Greg Henry, followed by one of me and Veronika's woman-to-woman segments. I was created in the image of God. He created me perfectly. When I was created, God said that it was good, and He was satisfied. Even on my worst day, I am still a masterpiece. I am a work of art. Even when I make the wrong decision, God can still help me. I don't have to live in shame when I make a mistake or hide, because here is a safe place for me to be myself and receive help at any time. When I look in the mirror, I see a work of art. I am not a machine or a project that needs to be altered or changed. My skin is clear and radiant. My smile is vibrant and life-giving. My hair, features, and height are unique and perfect for me. My body can relax and function as it's supposed to. My body is the temple of God. I host God's presence in my body, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. He is giving me healthy desires and helping me to feed my temple well from the inside out. When I eat, I can actually enjoy my food and nourish my temple. I have a healthy relationship with food. I am able to eat without guilt, condemnation, or criticism. I can actually enjoy every food experience. My digestive system is strong and healthy. My stomach is settled and at rest. Every organ and system functions fully as they were intended to. My body does not have to work overtime to keep me healthy. My immune system is getting better and stronger each day as I am resting in my true identity and seeing life through God's perspective. I do not compare myself or my body to others. I can appreciate who I am fully and all that I offer and bring to this world. When I work out or exercise, it is always from abundance and overflow. I am not trying to fix myself, correct anything, or make myself beautiful. I can actually enjoy my workouts, and I can actually give my all and rest in God's good opinion of me. I am already beautiful. I am already worthy. I am already valuable, and I can see myself the way God sees me, in perfection. The love of God cannot be bought. The gifts of God come for free. Everything has been given to me abundantly as a free gift in Christ Jesus. My Heavenly Father is good to me. When I have a need, request, or desire, I can come to God boldly and trust Him to make a way for me. I don't have to work for or earn His love. I receive it as a free gift. I don't have to manipulate, control, or guilt trip God, myself, or others because I live in freedom. I am secure. Every day my heart is healing, my mind is healing, and my life is being restored. My life is radiating truth, hope, joy, and grace.
It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel." please do not sleep in your office. And I said, excuse me, sir. I said, I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now, things are bad for me. But they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home. And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and two other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.
If you want to see light break forth from scriptures and from darkness in your life where you don't know which way to go, go and sit and study out how good God is and let Him have that goodness directed towards you, and your ears will be open to hear what God's saying. There's no other way. He's going to goodness you into hearing Him. There is no other way. I promise you there's no other way. If you ask me, Bertie, what's the will of God? You're going to, I don't want to shock people, but if you want to ask me, Bertie, what's the will of God for you? What is God's voice to you? I say what I think and what I want to do. Because He's come to live in me. Now go and be pampered by the news, and go and be pampered by stuff that lies to you about your value, where you don't feel loved and all those kind of things, and that will bring forth desires in you, and that will tell you, and then you will make your own willpower available on how to bring it forth, and you'll have thoughts born which will tell you what you must do in your own willpower. The thing works both ways. So, in conclusion, be very careful to be under any doctrine or any place where the goodness of God is not continually magnified all the time. You must come to the point where you say, my goodness, I don't know, I cannot even number all the good things that God has done. Yeah, but Bertie, there's scriptures in the Old Testament that says this and that. Skip them. If we need to be pampered by the goodness of God, skip the verses about hell and fire and torture, man. My goodness, we've heard that too much. Can't we come to scriptures like God is a Savior, love, kind, friend of sinners, don't condemn the woman caught in the act of adultery, that He is love and can never be anything else, that God's eyes looks at us and He wants to set us free from what kills us, that God became a human and took a human being and put him in the Trinity forever, so that He can forever behold man in perfection, and that Jesus is actually your high priest talking about you. Amen. My goodness, why can't we come to a place where we behold that day and night? Yeah, but Bertie, that verse says, I don't care. Every verse in the Bible must first come past Jesus to get in my heart.
Amen.
Finished. I don't care if it's a theologian, I don't care. And I don't want to say arrogantly, but I want to tell you truly, not in an ugly way, but I don't care. You can have a theologian with many doctor's degrees with everything, with scripture upon scripture, line upon line, whatever. He must take that and put it right next to Jesus that loves on a woman that didn't even confess her sin.
Yep, come on.
And if all that studies contradicts what I see here, I'm rather going with what God showed in Jesus.
Amen.
End of it. And I'll rather say, I don't understand these verses now, but I know these verses correctly understood will never contradict this.
We'll find out that God never tests us. We'll find out that God never has tested people. We'll find out that God doesn't bring hard times to people to teach people things. That God doesn't allow hard times in people's lives in order to teach them things. We'll find out all those things are false. Glory to God. And so what does it mean when we experience hard times? I don't think there's any human being that hasn't found themselves when they were experiencing hard times sitting around wondering, why am I going through this? Anyone? See, we tend to find that thought immediately going on inside of us. What's happening here? And so when we experience hard times, we can kind of become like Job. You notice Job experienced some hard times, and then he went on for like 35 chapters reasoning with a bunch of people about why this was happening to him. And at the end of all of his reasoning, do you know what conclusion he came to? All of his reasoning was dung. All the conclusions he came to about why this was happening to him, one of which was the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Notice Job said that, God didn't say it. All the things Job thought about how God was allowing this to happen to him and how God was doing this to him, he didn't know why, but that's what was happening. If you get to Job chapter 42, you find God show up and ask Job, who told you that? Who told you all those things you've been busy with for 40 chapters saying about me and why this was happening to you? Were you there when I made the universe? Were you there when I fashioned everything? And God's basically asking, where did you get this information from about me, buddy? And then Job is confronted with a very real thing. And Job repents for everything he said in the previous 40-something chapters. He repents. And he says, man, I never knew you, Lord. I only heard of you. And I think that can happen to a lot of us when we experience hard times, is that we have only heard things about God and we haven't really known the heart of God. We've only heard things about God. And so what happens is when we experience hard times, we tend to try to make sense out of our hard times through our own reasoning. Do you see what I'm saying? Through our own logic. We want to make sense out of it. It's like we have this weird kind of thought that if we can make sense out of it, then we can solve the problem, right? If we can make sense out of the problem, then we can solve it, right? And then we almost feel like if we can make sense out of the problem, then we'll have peace. So when we experience hard times in this world, and listen, guys, Jesus said, you will find tribulation in the world. So you will find tribulation in the world at times. You will experience hard times. And so what happens is when we experience hard times, we want to make sense out of it. And when we want to make sense out of it, we tend to start using our own reasoning to make sense out of it. And then we'll start saying things to ourselves like, God is testing our faith. We'll start saying things like, God is bringing these hard times into our lives in order to teach us something. That God is sending this tribulation into our life in order to purge some sin from our life. Or God is allowing these hard times into our lives in order to teach us patience, And all the time, what we're doing is we're reasoning with our own carnal thinking. We're not reasoning with the mind of Christ. And we're coming to all these conclusions about God and who God is and what his nature is like and the way that he will deal with us that isn't born from the mind of Christ, but it's born from the mind of Adam. Okay? So if that's how we think about God and the way that he is with us, it'll be really hard to find ourselves going to rest in his bosom as our Father. If that's what we think about God, that God sends hard times to test our faith, that he sends hard times to teach us things, that he allows hard times into our life to purify us. If that's what we think about God and how he is with us, it's going to be very hard for us to find ourselves going to rest in God as our Father. It'll be a stumbling block to us being able to trust in his integrity towards us. It'll be a stumbling block to us being able to trust in the integrity of his goodness and his intentions towards us. It can act as a hindrance to us being able to trust him with our lives. You see what I'm saying? If that's what we think about God and the way that he is with us, guys, it will actually serve to destroy the father-child relationship we were created for with God from the beginning. I mean, if I thought my dad was testing me all the time, or that my dad was all the time sending me hard times in order to teach me things, or that he could stop pain and suffering from coming into my life, but he decides, sovereignly as my dad, I could stop the pain and suffering, but I'm not going to stop the pain and suffering, so I'm going to let the pain and suffering come, and I'll use the pain and suffering to teach him things. If that's what I think about God, or if that's what I think about my own dad, that he's all the time testing me, I'm never going to be able to go to rest in his goodness towards me. I'm never going to be able to trust him with my life. I'm never going to actually feel safe in his presence. I'm all the time going to be walking around wondering, is that guy testing me now? Is this a test? I'll be looking for the parameters of the test so I can try to pass the test. I'll never just be enjoying my dad and who he is and what's inside of him and what he enjoys. I'll never be enjoying his life, but I'll all the time be on my tippy toes looking for a test, wondering where the test is. How can I pass the test? What way can I pass the test? And then what happens is you end up in your relationship with God where you're always watching your back. Listen, when I was in high school, when you went out with your friends and you visited rival schools or whatever, you always had to watch your back in case somebody was now just going to, hit you from behind and, you're going to fall over. Listen, that's not how it's supposed to be with God, where you got to watch your back thinking any second now that guy's going to shoot me in the back or something just to teach me something as I lay in a hospital bed suffering. Oh, glory to God. Hallelujah. No one wants to experience pain and suffering in their life. Can we at least agree on that? Now, through the revelation of God and his Spirit dwelling in you, you can find yourself rejoicing in pain and suffering.
It's Sade Champagne
and Veronika Esquivel Winters.
Tonight on Woman to Woman segment, we are going to be talking about this topic. Your voice is powerful. Your voice is powerful. My dear friend Greg Henry, and one of my biggest inspirations, says, don't ever underestimate what you have to say and how beautiful it may be. Everybody has something valuable to say. Don't ever underestimate what you have to say and how beautiful it may be. Everybody has something valuable to say. Take it over, Veronika.
Hi. So what I wanted to start off with was a little bit about what used to happen to me. Well, first of all, growing up, I started saying my first words when I was 6 months. So my mom said that I've always been kind of a talker, and on my report cards in elementary school, they'd always say, Veronika is such a social butterfly. She talks to everybody. She makes lots of friends. And so apparently I've always been a big talker. I've always used my voice for the most part. But somewhere in between that time and I want to say probably like a teenager or, in my 20s, it became difficult for me to start speaking up and to using my voice. I was kind of told to watch what I say and taught to watch what I say and how I said it, which I think there is wisdom in that. But it got to a point where I was always so concerned about what I was saying, how I was saying, who I was saying it to, and kind of like most of all holding my feelings and my emotions down, like pushing them down a lot and not speaking up. And it even got to a point where even my voice, like I was always told too that sometimes I could get really loud. Well, I come from a kind of loud family, so we're all kind of loud, especially when we get together. Everybody likes to talk, and we can tend to get loud. So, people used to tell me, "Oh my God, you're talking too loud. Can you quiet down a little?" And with eventually with people saying that to me and saying that to anybody really, it just kind of began to hinder my voice. So I was always careful about what I talked about. When, where I was, my voice would get really low, and sometimes people could barely even hear me. So it was one time where I was going through something where my voice was physically going away. It would come and go a lot. I would get hoarse, and then all of a sudden, I literally had no voice. Like, I could barely even whisper or even talk. And this was happening for on and off, probably I want to say about 2 years. And, I would look up all these natural remedies and investigate to see why this was happening, and it would help a little bit, but it would still happen. And it was until one time where I met up with one of my best friends, and it was the first time actually we met up, and we were at a Starbucks.
No, what are you just talking about?
I think I'm talking about Sade. And it was, it was the beginning of our friendship, and I had asked her, I was like, I really want somebody to mentor me, and I just love everything, how you speak up and how you talk in front of people without, looking or feeling intimidated. And that was always a great desire in my heart. I always wanted to speak in front of people and encourage people and do all that fun stuff. But so anyways, I asked Sade if she could meet with me, and we met at a Starbucks. And I remember one of the first things she told me, she said, "I need you to speak up." And I was like, what do you mean? Like, speak up? Like talk louder? Or what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, speak up. I could barely hear you. You're whispering. And I didn't even realize, that it got to that. And so anyways, we began to meet up and stuff. And it was so crazy because the more she encouraged me to speak up and to use my voice, and, if I thought I was getting too loud, she's like, I would ask her, am I getting too loud? She's like, no, get louder. and so the more she encouraged me in that, I started noticing that those little episodes of my voice going in and out and all of a sudden leaving wasn't happening anymore. And I honestly haven't even got one of those, and it's been years. And so I really feel that there was something, happening with that in the physical, that I was believing, in spiritually within me, that, I had to speak a certain way and be, not talk too loud, be quiet and not speak up. So, so with that being said, that taught me a lot. And now it's like, I feel like I'm so free into, speaking up and being able to be myself, using my voice, because we were given a voice for a reason. There's a reason why we talk. There's lots of different reasons why we are able to talk and communicate, but we were given a voice for a reason, and it's really important to use our voice. And also, with that being said, using it in a healthy way, and with that, I was also able to learn healthy communication, and it just opened up a lot of different doors and avenues of showing me how I'm able to use my voice now. I also wanted to talk a little bit about being confident in what you want to say and what you want to share. What's a lot of the times what I would do, I would, have a thought in my mind or in my heart, and I was never, I wanted to share it, but I wasn't confident in sharing it and sharing what I was thinking or feeling in my heart. It could have been with a friend, or it could have just been in general, something that God was sharing with me, putting on my heart. I was always not very confident in being able to speak that out. And now, I just see that, those thoughts and those things, whatever you want to call it, a revelation or an aha moment or whatever, those are things that were put there for a reason, and to be confident in knowing that, and to be confident in speaking and sharing, because it does matter. Not only can it impact your own personal life, but the life of others as well. And also, the other thing I kind of touched on a little bit about was the whole healthy communication. Healthy communication is key. A lot of the times, you have that other extreme where it's like, speak your mind, say what you want to say, and not care about how you're going to affect other people around you, or or, don't care about what other people think. And, and yeah, a lot of those points are valid, but also speaking up, in honor, in respect, and out of love, is very, very important. So as you're using your voice and you're using healthy communication, it is very important to speak up from the place of love and grace and honor and, respect as well. So, so healthy communication is definitely key. So I think that's what I kind of wanted to wrap things up with.
Awesome. Well, Veronika, I want to thank you so much for sharing that story because, there's so many people who can relate to that. And as women and girls, we're always told all the time, don't be too loud, don't complain, don't do this. And so what happens is we end up squishing people's voices to the point where they don't even know who they are anymore, and it's hard for them to be themselves. Even in my mentoring and life coaching that I do with people, I spend so much time just having to encourage the person that your voice matters and that what you have to say is important, because they're always being told, to not do too much this, don't do too much of that. I struggle with that in my life as well. A lot of times growing up in religion and traditional church, I didn't feel like I could actually speak up and be myself. I couldn't think for myself. And it's like, I'm thankful unto God over the years. He's continued to show me. And I believe this for our listeners as well. He shows you how valuable you are to him, what you mean to him. And he shows you how he speaks up and he speaks.
Yes.
And like you said, it's about healthy communication from a place of love, because obviously as you are receiving that love from your heart, that's what you're going to be able to share with others and what you're going to be able to encourage them in. And so what is something that you would share with someone who is struggling with speaking up right now and someone who feels intimidated when it comes to speaking, whether it be public speaking or even just sharing something that they are not happy about in a relationship?
That's really good. So, first, let's see, somebody who might be intimidated to speak up in general. Well, one of the things that I used to do is look at myself in the mirror and look at all the qualities that I have and think of the qualities that I have. And I would look at myself in the mirror and speak them out loud to myself. So I don't know. I really feel like that helped me out to be able to start using my voice more and speaking up more. Another way is to, like, if you want to, do public speaking, speak in front of people, to look, when the opportunity comes for you to be able to do that, go for it. Like, don't try to overthink it. Don't focus on the things that you're feeling like you can't, you're not capable, you've never done it before, because everybody had to start somewhere, and I feel that the more you do it and the more you put yourself out there, the easier it's going to get and the more confidence you're going to build. And it's just, it starts to blossom into who you've always been. And you get to see that. And when you begin to see that, like, you gain even more confidence and you just go for it, don't hold back, because you have that desire there for a reason. And it's, if there's an opportunity that comes up, just go for it.
And then what would you say for people who are struggling with speaking up in their relation, like a personal relationship, whether it be, or even a professional relationship, like something that they're having a problem with the other person? What do you feel is a healthy way to communicate that or to encourage them to speak up?
So, one of the things that you can do is could be unhealthy is not to speak up because of lots of different reasons, whether it's fear or intimidation or whatever. And that just kind of holds things down and makes matters worse. So if you can just maybe even practice it, first in your mind, and also just know that you're coming from a place of, love and honor and grace when you're going to talk to that person, to definitely approach the person from that place, and maybe start with the way you're feeling first and how, this particular thing that the person in a relationship is doing, how it's affecting you and how it's making you feel. When we tend to do that, it makes the person less offensive, and it makes it more about, how it makes you feel. So maybe just starting with that, like, you know, using the I feel when this happens, or when I see you doing this, or when you speak to me this way, I feel, you know, scared, or I feel intimidated, or I feel hurt, you know. Coming from a place from that, I think it opens the door to be able to make it a lot easier for a healthy confrontation, and also for us to speak up and not stay in a situation that's not healthy for us, just because we're scared to speak up and to address the issue, you know.
Mm-hmm. And as we're wrapping up tonight's segment of Woman to Woman, we want to encourage you that as you're speaking up, you know, in life, as you're using your powerful voice, people aren't always going to respond the way you want them to. And it's an unfortunate thing. It would be great if everybody could respond in love all the time, and they could be receptive, and you know, we could all be joyous and harmony and unity together. But it's not always going to work like that. But continue to speak up and be yourself. God is going to continue to love you through it and encourage you through it and empower you through it. And you're going to be more than okay. We'll talk to you guys next time on Woman to Woman.
Bye.
Our next song of the night is William Matthews with Don't Worry. You're listening to episode 42 of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Hi everyone, it's Sade Champagne here, and I hope you have already gotten your tickets to the Walls Group Latitude Tour. I had the pleasure of getting an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview with the Walls Group on their Latitude Tour in Los Angeles, and we were able to have them on our Season 3 premiere of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. This phenomenal tour is absolutely amazing. I have attended many concerts in my life, including Prince's Musicology Tour back in 2004, and the Walls Group Latitude Tour is definitely in my top 3 tours of all time. These Grammy-nominated Billboard charting gospel artists are signed to Kirk Franklin's Fo Yo Soul Recordings in association with RCA Records, and releasing their newest studio album this year. They have hundreds and thousands of fans around the world, with their videos garnering millions of views. You can go to thewallsgroup.org/tour. Once again, that's thewallsgroup.org/tour to get your tickets to this concert. And also, if you want to book them and bring them to a city or event near you, email book@thewallsgroup.org. That's book@thewallsgroup.org. They're coming to Georgia, St. Louis, Louisiana, Virginia, Texas, Orlando, Miami, South Carolina, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., Michigan, Minnesota, and more. Make sure you go to thewallsgroup.org/tour. They have been Sade Champagne approved.
Beautiful people. See, this is why I don't sing on the show. Hey guys, this is Christina Renee from the What's Going On segment on the Sade Champagne Show, and you're listening to GrindHard Radio.
Welcome back to the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Our next segment of the night is Wellness Made Simple. Join certified holistic life coach, clinical aromatherapist, and inspirational speaker Veronika Esquivel Winters to get some easy and practical tips on how to start living a more holistic life, bringing unity to your mind, body, and spirit. Hashtag Wellness Made Simple to ask her your health and wellness questions and join in the conversation.
Hi, welcome to the Wellness Made Simple segment on the Sade Champagne Show. My name is Veronika Esquivel Winters, and today I'm going to talk about starting or planting your own little herb garden and the benefits of 5 herbs you can start with your herb garden today. I just recently planted a few of my favorite herbs in little single terracotta pots and placed them in a rectangular wood planter box and put it in my kitchen windowsill for easy access. And the bonus is that it not only looks pretty in my kitchen, it makes my kitchen smell so good too. You can also use a raised planter or individual planters to pot your herb garden outside in your yard. I always highly recommend, whether you buy the herbs already grown or from seeds, you make sure they are organic, as well as using organic soil. You can make sure that it is legitimately organic by seeing the little symbol that says USDA organic. I also like to use pots that are made from non-toxic materials. So no plastic, no ceramic pots that have been glazed or use some kind of chemical glaze around it. So the first thing that I chose to plant in my herb garden is basil. And what are the proven benefits of basil? Scientific studies show the following benefits of basil. It's anti-inflammatory, it's an antioxidant, it's a cancer fighter, it reduces pain, it's a fever reducer, it prevents diabetes, it's a liver protector, blood vessel protector, anti-stress solution, and it's also an immune booster. So basil is definitely something that you want to incorporate in any of your dishes. You can use it fresh over, chop it fresh over nice little salad, or you can cook it in a pasta sauce or in pretty much any dish that you feel that would, pair well with basil. So those are just a little bit of ways that you could use basil in your food. The next one that I chose is rosemary. So rosemary is a fragrant evergreen herb native to the Mediterranean. It is used as a culinary condiment to make bodily perfumes and for its potential health benefits. So some of the benefits of rosemary are, again, it's antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, it improves digestion, it enhances memory and concentration, and it's also a neurological protection or protector. So scientists have found that rosemary may also be good for your brain. Rosemary contains an ingredient called carcinic acid, which is able to fight off damage by free radicals in the brain. Some studies have identified that rosemary might be useful for people who have experienced a stroke. Rosemary appears to be protective against brain damage and might improve recovery. So rosemary is, not only delicious, it also smells delicious, and, it has a lot of great benefits, that go along with it. Something else, it smells so beautiful. One of the cool things that you can do is actually get a pot and, put some water in the pot, bring it to a boil, and then cut some of your rosemary leaves off of your newly planted herb garden and throw a few of the rosemary leaves into the boiling water, and it just releases such a beautiful fragrance in your house. And it's also, it also works the same way as if you were eating it, if you inhale it. So it's almost, in a sense, similar to using essential oils. So the next thing that I decided to plant is mint. And mint promotes digestion, improves oral health. It helps to prevent cancer. It's a quick and effective remedy for nausea. It clears up congestion of nose, throat, and lungs. It's a natural stimulant, relieves fatigue and depression. And the next one is oregano. Oregano is an antioxidant for immune system support, antifungal, antibacterial, and may even kill MRSA. It's also an anti-inflammatory properties, or it has anti-inflammatory properties. It's useful for upper respiratory infections and also has cancer-fighting properties in it. The next one, last but not least, is thyme. Thyme is an herb with culinary, medical, and ornamental uses. The flowers, leaves, and oil of thyme have been used to treat bedwetting, diarrhea, stomach aches, arthritis, colic, sore throat, cough, including whooping cough, bronchitis, flatulence, and as a diuretic to increase urination. It also helps with high blood pressure, protection from foodborne bacterial infections, protects against colon cancer, helps with yeast infections, and it also helps with common skin problems such as acne. So there you go. Those are a few of the herbs that I decided to go ahead and plant in my herb garden. It is so easy to do, and they're pretty much really easy to take care of as long as they get some sunlight, and they, whenever the soil is dry, you just add a little bit of water to it, and there you go. You can pick your herbs right off your garden and use them as you like. Also, I will be posting more details on the herbs that I talked about today, as well as with pictures, On my social media, you can find me on Instagram under Elevate Holistic Life, that is Elevate Holistic Life, or on Facebook under Veronika with a K Esquivel Winters. Thank you again for joining us on the Wellness Made Simple segment on the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. As usual, it's been a pleasure. Cheers.
Now we have clips with words of wisdom from Bertie Brits and Greg Henry, and then I will be sharing another original message titled, You Have No Competition.
Listen, pastors, I want to tell you, do you want to know what it is to have a ministry that's born of God? Where the worship leader worships because of passion in the heart and not to be seen by people. Where the money that comes in is peace money, man. Or money that promotes peace. It's money of peace, money that comes out of the nature of God. But the peace money we have now is so that there can be peace in the hearts of people if they give. But we don't want that type of a money of peace. We want the money that comes as a result of peace. And that's what Paul said. He said, listen, if people give to me, is that wrong? He says, no, it's not wrong. He says, a farmer lives off what he does. This is what I do. So if people come and freely give to me, then I will receive it, and that is not wrong. That's all he said. He didn't say, I've got a right to take off from you. He didn't say that. And we're going to look at those scriptures still. Now, I want to explain that, because we always thought, well, you know, the pastor has got a right to have money from his people. That's a lie, my friend. The right that he talks about there is the right to receive it if they freely want to give it. He's got the right to receive it then. Because that's not wrong. For that is what he does. That's how he lives. Whenever Paul went to a place, he first prepared himself. He went there with something that he's going to do for money. That's how he went. He didn't go there. And I tell you, it's so wonderful. If you can go and preach at a place, and you don't worry, what are they going to give me? Well, I'm invited. If somebody invites me to go and preach something, what's the first thing that comes into my mind is, I'm paying the ticket. That comes to my mind. That's how I think, And then they say, but you. And then if I don't have the money to pay the ticket, then I tell him, listen, man, I can't pay the ticket. Can you pay the ticket? If he says he cannot, then I said, let God provide for us, then we'll come. Isn't it? And if that thing hasn't happened, I'm not going to feel I'm not a success. We've arranged the crusade, and then something happened that it can't happen. Now I feel I'm not a success. No. Rest then. Isn't it wonderful? You can't become more successful than what you are. We are not chasing success. We are just preaching the success of the cross. I mean, what I do, I'll do for the rest of my life. I'm just sharing the gospel, believing the good news of God, enjoying His love. Sometimes there will be thousands of people, sometimes there will be one. Sometimes I will just meditate upon my bed, thinking of the love of God. I've reached my top already. So now I can live like a successful person. Isn't it? I can live like a successful person. I'm not living like a person seeking success. Live like a person that is already successful. Amen. That's why it says, walk worthy of your calling. Hallelujah. Walk like somebody that believes that he is loved of God.
I also don't look at healing as if it can only happen one way. I don't become discouraged and think that if I don't see a physical healing in somebody, that means they haven't been healed. A person can be healed in their heart from the effects of a physical ailment or the effects that a physical ailment is causing on them, and they can find their life transcend the physical ailment without the physical ailment leaving. Do you see what I'm saying? They can find love, peace, joy, kindness, meekness, long-suffering manifesting in them even though the physical ailment still remains. And so the physical ailment doesn't shape their life. They're living free. They're living above the physical ailment. I would define that as also healing. And so whenever I pray for somebody to be healed, I'm just fellowshipping with God about the truth and about how the resurrection has the power to heal every person. And I don't define the only ways it can heal them. I understand that the resurrection power has many different ways to heal a person. It could be through the heart. It could be through their body. It could be through the mind. It could be first through the mind and the heart, and then later find it to be unto a healing in the body.
You have no competition. You have no competition. One of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors, speakers, mentors, and dear friends, Francois Dutoit's book, God Believes in You, and this is from the Mirror translation. It says, "While we compete with one another and compare ourselves with one another, we are without understanding. While we compete with one another and compare ourselves with one another, we are without understanding." That is one of the most beautiful verses I have ever read in my life, and it speaks to me so much. Also, a second note we're going to be expounding upon. Queens believe and function from a place of abundance. There's more than enough room for everyone to shine. Your glorious journey is uniquely your own and custom made for you and the people you'll touch. Queens believe and function from a place of abundance. There's more than enough room for everyone to shine. Your glorious journey is uniquely your own and custom made for you and the people you'll touch. If you are just hearing me speak for the first time, or if you've been hearing me speak many times before, you'll notice that I happen to repeat myself a lot, and I'll reiterate certain things that I'm saying because, let's be honest here, it takes us a long time and many times of hearing something before we actually hear it and before we're actually listening to it. And so I believe that when it comes to the truth, the same way we have done with lies throughout our lives, that we are to hear the truth and listen to it multiple times. So I don't mind repeating myself. I know a lot of people can get frustrated with that, but I don't mind repeating myself because I understand that there's value and power in it. So we're going to expound upon the first thought about competing and comparing ourselves with one another. I want to share with you my story of insecurity, comparisons, and always trying to earn love and compete. You know, when I was growing up, I struggled a lot in my self-esteem. I struggled a lot in confidence. There were some areas of my life that I was more confident in and where I really believed in myself. Like I knew that I was smart. I knew that God had destined me for greatness. Those were two things I knew for sure. I was like, I'm smart. God has destined me for greatness. My dreams are somehow, some way going to come to pass. But I struggled with believing in who I was, as in how I looked. I always struggled with my voice and people making me feel insecure about the way that I speak, people making me feel insecure about the way that I looked, whether it be from my complexion to my smile and the fact that I love smiling, to my body shape, to my height. The list is long. We can name tons of different things. And it didn't help, especially the older that I got. The images that I was seeing didn't reflect what I look like. There wasn't a lot of people like there are nowadays via social media, thank God, of beautiful women who looked all different kinds of ways, and women that I could say, wow, she is similar to me, you know, with having chocolate skin, with having this type of body physique. Oh my gosh, Serena Williams, she has muscles and curves too, or this person loves smiling a lot too. So growing up, and I believe that images are very important. Some people don't, but I believe that what we are seeing and receiving within our eyes is huge and really makes an impact on what we believe and how we feel about ourselves. So I started very early on comparing myself to others. I remember wanting to look like women and girls who were the complete opposite of what I looked like. You can take someone who looks a totally different race, totally different eye color, hair color, body shape, height, etc. And that was what I wanted to look and be like. And I struggled for many, many years of comparing myself to others and always trying to find little things about, like if I couldn't get close to her as a friendship or build some type of partnership, something, be able to have her as an ally, I would find myself in my heart finding little things about her and magnifying those things as negatives to be, you know, in order to make me feel better about myself, because I didn't feel good about who I was and what I looked like and where my life was. Why didn't I grow up in this kind of family? Why didn't I look like this? Why didn't I have this kind of resources and money? Why does this person have this? I want their life. And so I would find things about her that I thought were negative, quote unquote, and magnify those things in my heart to make me feel better about myself. But did they ever make me feel better about myself? No. I always felt worse, and it just continued to drain me and exhaust me, and it continued to just suck the life out of me. We do not have to earn love. We do not have to compare ourselves to others. God made us each unique. Every single person in this world who has ever been created is a unique and equal individual expression of who God is. They are an aspect, a dynamic of God's character, of God's grace, of God's beauty. Now, what people do with that and whether they recognize it or not is a totally different message. But we were all created in the image of God. So knowing this now has made a huge impact to my life. Because especially being in the entertainment industry, I lived so many years comparing myself and always feeling like I had to compete, although I knew deep down that God had made me different. And I believe that about every single person. But in order for that truth to manifest in people's lives and have power in them, they have to believe it. A truth is only beneficial when someone believes it. And it's the same thing with lies. A lie can only manifest and grow when someone believes in it, when they give power to it. I knew that God had created me differently. I know that I didn't only want to be known for what I look like. Of course, I care about my image. I love the way that I look, but I didn't want to be known for just what I look like on the outside, because looks are fleeting and I can see the beauty and value in every person. But if I'm constantly only worried about what my physical appearance looks like and wanting to look like this person, I'm basically just allowing my life to waste away. And I'm basically telling God that he made crap. And that's not true. God doesn't make junk. I'm sure you all have heard that famous quote growing up, that God don't make no junk. And so it's true. He didn't make any junk. There was a time in my life when I was literally winning, in my career. And I'm winning now, but I want to give you context to the story. So I was winning within my career. I'd had the largest charity event I'd ever had. I was getting connected with so many entertainers and performers. I was just really breaking barriers in my community. And without, as someone who hasn't come from a lot of money, as someone who didn't come from an environment that looked on the outside successful, it was pretty huge. I was awarded the Shadowbox Entertainment Artist of the Year in 2009. And that was a huge honor because Shadowbox Entertainment were mentors of mine. And my dear friends, the Jackie Boys, who are Grammy Award winners, they've sold over 15 million records all around the world and tons of hit albums and tours and everything. They received that award before I did. So I knew that I was in great company. There happened to be a lady at this particular event, and I had performed. I had such a wonderful time. I had my dancers. I just felt really good about what I was able to accomplish that night. And I knew that God was with me and for me. And there was a lady there who ended up basically telling me, oh, I have so many things I want to share with you about. I want to talk to you about your performance. And, I will always give people a chance to speak to me and to communicate with me, because you just never know what you can learn from each person. And I don't have an attitude of like, I know everything, you can't tell me anything, I'm always right. I believe in expansion. I believe in allowing my spirit, my heart, my being to stay open. And so we ended up chatting later on that night at a restaurant. And I'm thinking we're going to have a wonderful conversation. It's going to be amazing. And she actually tore down my entire performance and my character and what I look like. She began to tell me how I should always wear makeup, I should always have hair extensions flowing down my back, that even though I have a beautiful voice, this is not church, this is the entertainment industry. You're competing with other girls and women to be the best, and you need to prove it, and all of these things, and they're going to choose this type of person over you. Just cut me down. And even though it did sting a bit, I'm thankful that I didn't allow what she said to derail my vision and my path that I was on. I'm so glad that God's love supersedes any and every type of insecurity, negativity, or attack that can come our way. And so that really was a crucial time in my life, because how many of us can have something like that happen to us multiple times, and it's easy to say, you know what, well, maybe they're right. And we begin to just slowly but surely change who we are in order to win the approval of others. But then you are not yourself. And we slowly begin comparing, we're competing until we are no more of who God created us to be. I want to expound upon point 2. Queens believe and function from a place of abundance. There's more than enough room for everyone to shine. Your glorious journey is uniquely your own and custom made for you and the people you'll touch. I want to share with you about abundance and what it means to have an abundant mindset. As God has been healing my heart and my mind, my inner being, and He's been bringing newness and restoration to my life, I realize that there is more than enough of everything to go around for every single person. Now, whether it's equally distributed or not is another story. But there is more than enough abundance. I now function from an abundant mindset and belief system. When we feel that we lack, when we feel that we're not good enough and we're not worthy, this brings about depression and it drains us. It's one of the main reasons people will be struggling with anxiety and panic and paranoia and depression. And hey, I'm raising my hand here. I'm someone who struggled with these things for many, many years of my life. And it oftentimes will start because we feel that we lack, or we feel because of something that has happened to us, and we allow that to speak a word about who we are and what God says about our lives. There's always more than enough. There's always more than enough. You don't have to compete and compare yourself with others. There's always more than enough. What do you need? What do you desire? What do you feel that you lack in your heart, in your life? And I don't want you to just think about the surface. Think about your deep inner being. Many times we'll say, I want a smaller waist, and that'll make me feel better about myself. But really think about, what are you saying? Are you saying to yourself, I want to feel beautiful. I want to feel attractive. I want to feel loved. Ask God to show you, how am I loved? What do you see about me that's beautiful? How can you empower me to live a healthier lifestyle that's not just based on what I look like on the outside? And God will answer you. God will heal you and help you. He will bring the healing and impact to your life. You are one of a kind. You are a unique and equal expression of who God is. You, radiant queen, you exude God's beauty. Listen, read, and watch the truth as often as you can. Don't allow these images that are in the world to just continue to feed you insecurities and feed you pain. Sometimes we have to, by the grace of God, turn those things off. I've found myself over time, I unfollow any types of posts, and I make sure I put on there, see fewer posts of certain images and things that I know that could be triggers. And not to say that I'm living in that space that I was before, because I'm not. I'm a much healthier space, and I don't compare myself to other people. When that lie tries to come to me, I am reminded that God is the final say-so about my life. Whatever I need, God will provide for me. And if it looks like on the outside that I didn't receive what I asked for, God will satisfy me and bring me joy in such a way that I will not feel like I am missing anything. God always provides me even better than what I could have imagined. I will click on see fewer posts. I will allow my vision, my ears, my heart to be filled with the truth as often as possible. Open yourself up. And if it's hard for you to be open, if you're someone like me who struggled with internalizing your feelings, your emotions, your life, hiding away, ask God to open you up and help you to receive the truth about who He is and who you are and who every woman is. And God will do it. God will open you up. God will help you to receive and see the truth. I personally believe, and I'm a living testimony of this, that God will always hear you when you call. And even when you don't call, God will hear you. God will always receive your heart. God will always make a way for you. God will always reveal to you the truth. Who you are is good enough. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone. You don't have to compete thinking, and obviously I'm not talking about if you're in the sports realm or if you're trying to get a particular job. That's a different story. But even in that, knowing that it's purely just from that job perspective, but not allowing that to speak a word about who you are and who someone else is. You are more than enough. So once again, I want to reiterate on our 2 points at the start of this message. And this is from Francois Dutoit's God Believes in You book. And this is in Romans and the Mirror translation in the book. While we compete with one another and compare ourselves with one another, we are without understanding. Competing and comparing yourself to others is a low quality of life. We have always been destined for so much more. We have always been destined for the greatest, highest quality life that we could ever receive. That goes beyond our circumstances. It goes beyond where we've been. It goes beyond what could ever try to hold us back. We are able to transcend and live in joy and peace and know without a shadow of a doubt when we lay our head down, when we wake up in the morning, that God loves us, that God is for us, that God is with us, that our future is sealed, that our present is sealed, that our past is being restored. And lastly, queens believe and function from a place of abundance. There's more than enough room for everyone to shine. There will always be room for you in this world. Your glorious journey is uniquely your own and custom made for you and the people you'll touch. Every moment that you spend comparing yourself to others and gloating about your life is a moment that could be spent receiving the truth about who you are and growing in your identity. A lot of times we need to focus things more inward, meaning who we are, where we're headed, and rejoice in that, and not allowing ourselves to be so focused on what everyone else is doing and what's happening in their lives, but allowing yourself to enjoy who you are. Enjoy the gift of you. Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight to episode 42, my pre-birthday celebration episode of the Sade Champagne Show on GrindHard Radio. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, and sharing my radio show. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as I'll be in New Orleans on vacation and will be sharing new videos and vlogs during my trip all over my social media. Next week is our special romance and love episode with Dr. Jael the Great. She is a professor at Spelman College, life coach, motivational speaker, and published author of How to Keep Your Daughter from Doing What You Wish You Hadn't, who is invited to travel all around the world. As an actress and musical artist, she has worked with some of the greatest talents alive today, including Tyler Perry, Robert Townsend, Kim Fields, Loretta Devine, Jennifer Holliday, Isaac Curry, Angie Stone, and more. We also have a brand new Mind Right Game Tight segment with castmate Michelle Morgan and new artist spotlight segment featuring award-winning hip-hop artist, inspirational speaker, dancer, professional model, and entrepreneur Tri-C. Thanks to GrindHard Radio for the opportunity to create my own radio shows. Thanks to Travis Miller for creating and producing my theme song, and Scott Swish for mixing the song. Thanks to Kata Mafiaso for helping me to create our new radio drop. Thanks to all my guest speakers, Les Brown, Greg Henry, Bertie Brits, and my castmate Veronika Esquivel Winters. Our final song of the night is JoJo with Exceptional. I'm Sade Champagne, and thanks for listening to my radio show. I don't ever take your support for granted. I am forever grateful and thankful unto you. We'll see you next Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Time right here on GrindHard Radio.
Where dreamers dream, where dreams come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine.